Excellent. All right. Well, welcome to Super Saturday. Tomorrow is Super Bowl, and although I like the Super Bowl and I'm definitely not opposed to it, I enjoy taking some time for myself this weekend. And I wanted to play with this card set. It's the Mixed Media Florals Memories and More card pack. And I wanted to play with it because it's just so pretty. And there's matching paper. I was actually going to grab that.
Hmm.
So there's a matching set of DSP in the online store, and I haven't even had a chance to open it, but this page alone convinced me that I needed it. And so, if you start to play around with this and you realize, oh, I really like the patterns, or I really think that's nice, you might want to consider the DSP because it's basically like a larger, blown up version of this. So it's got two sheets of this really pretty paper that I think would make a really nice, this is great for scrapbooking. So this is a perfect scrapbook page. And then the back of it's this blue sky. And then it's got a page of this kind of like impressionistic. And the back of that's this really pretty green. And then a page with kind of the more, I think it's a tropical print. And the back is that really pretty petal pink stripe. Then it has a page of kind of more foliage and the fun black and white. And then some black and white flowers, which I do really like. And the back is kind of a fun impressionistic. This pattern you don't see at all in the Memories and More cards. And then this one is also kind of tropical, but has that blue in the background, and then another black and white. So when I saw these cards in the spring catalog, I knew there had to be more to the suite, and there is. There's actually like a coordinating stamp set and a whole lot of other stuff that came out in the online exclusives. So if you're not paying attention to the online exclusives, definitely do, because I knew that they wouldn't waste, I'm going to say waste, but they wouldn't put this much design effort into a Memories and More card stack without having something to coordinate with it. Like this is a lot of effort, like a lot of design effort to design these, and these are really, really beautiful. And so I was really excited when the online exclusives had all of the other kind of coordinating product. But I love Memories and More cards, and I can't wait to show you what I came up with. I also came up with a couple of duds. I always design a couple that don't turn out, and I'm going to show you those too. Because, sometimes you're like, I want this to work, and then it just doesn't work. I sent you a Google folder that has the designs kind of blown up, and I'm going to put some measurements on there. Probably that'll probably be what I do today between the two classes. But it's not super complicated. So I like to kind of look at the cards and see, okay, which ones do I like? Some of them are made for more memory keeping. So family time. Okay, that's nice. This is definitely for memory keeping, where they can kind of write about what they did today. So the Memories and More part is kind of the key piece to this. Now, this piece we're actually going to use, and we're going to cut these strips up and use them. So this is the first time I've seen them do this, where we have like some strips that we get to cut. So that one's kind of cool. So we're going to set that one aside because we know we're going to use that and we're going to cut that. And then, you're loved. Okay, this is our story. Definitely memory keeping, so you can kind of tell that there's some of these that we're not going to use for cards. Capturing memories one photo at a time. Yes, lovely, amazing. Not what we're doing today. I gave you guys a half a pack of this. So if you wanted, to get a full pack, you could, and you could make more stuff with it. There are some cute stickers, and I think I used almost every single sticker except these kind of labely ones that are definitely made for more memory keeping, opportunities. But I used, I think, all the other ones. So we're going to make a couple of straightforward cards first. And I think the most important thing is just to kind of look through the cards yourself and get familiar with what is what, right? I loved these ladybugs. This is one of my failed cards. I had a good design in my head and it just didn't work out. So I'll show you that one. Um, so kind of looking through, I like to make decisions about, okay, I really like that. Okay, but I really like the backs, so sometimes you have to sacrifice a design, for what you think what you're gonna do. I do like having kind of second chances. A couple of tools you'll need for today, not much, but I do use the embossing buddy to take the sticky off the back of some of the stickers so I can pop them up on dimensionals. I think it helps give a little height and dimension to, if not, everything's kind of just like laid flat and they look a little boring. So if you have an embossing buddy, go find him. You'll need a trimmer for sure. And then the other thing I used was a circle punch. And I'm trying to remember. I think I had to use my big one. So this is my 2 3/8 circle punch. So if you have a circle punch, I did use the circle punch. Wow, that's dirty. On one of them. So if you have a circle punch, great. Um, okay. So we're gonna start. I put them in order on the sheet in terms of like kind of easiest to quote unquote hardest. So we'll work up to them. So the first one we're gonna tackle is this grateful. Now, I kept it really simple and I did all black card bases. I tried these cards on a variety of card stocks to see what I thought worked. The white in here is a little off from our white, so it did not look good on white card bases. I think they would be fine on some colored card bases, but I thought the black actually really set it off well. So you have black card bases and you have inserts for every single one. Some of them we're going to use small cards as our inserts, and I'll show you that. But every once in a while, there's this really cute card that has lines, and I just think it makes an adorable inside piece. So, when we're cutting these, we want to be careful because we are going to have to trim them down a little bit in order to get them to fit on our card front. So, for instance, this one, the grateful one, we want it to be, luckily, they're the same width, but we want it to be 5 1/4. Sometimes we're going to trim 3/8 and 3/8, like top and bottom. With this one, I went ahead and just trimmed the top. It was a little, it gave me space at the top. So I'm just going to bring this to 5 1/4 and I'm going to trim off the top. Now, what's nice about that is this little spare piece, if we turn it over, it's very cute and we're going to use it. So make a pile of these little spare pieces that you're going to cut off. And if you want to go ahead and trim him in half, you can. I think it trims to 3/8. And I realize that's really fussy, but we're going to use a lot of these little skinny strips on the last card. So anyways, make a little pile of these. Um, all right, so this one, we're going to actually go ahead and cut that card that I told you to set aside that I promptly didn't set aside. Yes, this one. All right, so to get these strips out, I found it easiest to go ahead and trim the end off. So you're going to trim one end off, and I did not save this end, so you can throw that one away. And then the other end, and it should be to 5 1/2. So these guys, when trimmed, should go to 5 1/2. And then you're just going to use your trimmer and you're going to just trim off the little bits. I just kind of eyeballed it, on my trimmer, did the best I could, got some strips. And if I was off a little bit, it's okay. I just trimmed the next one. This one's definitely off, but I'll go back and see if I can trim that little white edge off. Um, So normally we do have two sheets of stickers, and sometimes there's these long kind of label type pieces in there. But this time they gave us this sheet, and I actually like it. I think you could have used it whole as well. Like I don't think that, but I'm using different ones on different cards. So we're just going to trim a whole bunch of these, and we're going to use them. And some of them were made to look a little more painterly, like they have uneven edges, and I just had to trim that off because I don't have the patience to deal with that. So we're getting down to the nitty gritty, but we need all, I think I used all but like maybe one or two of these. Hmm. And I don't think I used this peach one, so I'm not going to take the time to mess with him. All right, so I've got all my little guys here. I've got the ones I want to keep and the ones I don't care about. I think that's the one I'm using on this. Okay. So I like this card a lot by itself, but I wanted to add kind of one more extra layer. So I just added this blue piece here. And all I did was I got my scissors and I just tried to cut a similar, little angle. And then I actually glued this down flat. You could pop it up with dimensionals if you want. It's a nice look too. And it would give a little bit more, dimension to the card. I didn't add anything else to it. I did add the bow. That's the petal pink ribbon. And if you wanted to, um, if you wanted to add some of the little dots, you could, but I didn't. All right, so I'm just lining that up and then I'm just going to turn it over and trim it off. And then we'll glue it down. And then on the inside of the card, I just put the white and then I used one of those little oval, there's kind of like a set of 3 of these oval stickers that are really nice. So I went ahead and put one of those on the inside just to, zhuzh it up a little bit. Okay. So first card done. I'll go back and probably add another little bow here, but easy. This is an easy card. And I think that it's very pretty all by itself. I don't really think it needs a whole lot. So that's why I was like, meh, you know. Um, all right. One card down. We're doing good. Card number 2. Um, so this card is a full card. But this is one of those ones that we're going to want to trim some top and some bottom, right, in order to make that work. And then this piece, I'm trying to remember where this one came from. We might have to go back once we have our little scrap pile. We might have to find this guy because I think we trim him off of, oh, I know where we trim him off of. We trim him off of here. Okay, good. So, um, let's get our trimmer out. So with this pink one, we're gonna trim off 3/8. So 1, 2, 3. So that's gonna put us at like 5 and 5/8. We're gonna trim off a little bit here, and we're gonna keep that guy because we're actually gonna use him later. And we're gonna flip it over, and then we're gonna get it down to 5 1/4. So you're trimming 3/8 off the top and 3/8 off the bottom. And if you weren't familiar with your ruler, you are now. The same goes with this one. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to go 3/8 off the top and 3/8 off the bottom to get us down to 5 1/4. Right. And then one of these we're going to use on this card. We'll use it later. So come back to him. But this one, right, we're going to attach here. So I just did the same thing where I cut just want to make sure I cut it right. Uh, just cut a little piece off the end. I bumped it up with some dimensionals and then trimmed it. That's it. This one probably requires like a smaller edge of dimensionals if you have some of those skinny edges, or if you have many dimensionals. Many dimensionals could be your friend on this. And then again, just trim that. Now to this one, I did add a couple of the ladybug stickers because I thought they were very cute. You don't have to if you don't want to. And you can wait. A lot of what I do when I'm making these cards is I get the basic cards made and then I get the accessories and I decide like, okay, here's what I want to accessorize. Here's what I want to add, you know.
Listen, am
This.
I on mute?
You aren't, but I'm happy to have you. Like,
I just don't know where my mute button is. So,
oh, maybe I can mute you. I don't know. Sometimes, oh, I can. I can mute you. And then
oh,
if
that's
you
a good idea because the dogs are barking.
Oh, good times. Mine are all sleeping nearby. So I'll mute you for now. And if you need me, raise your hand. So, although I will say, I didn't hear the dogs barking at all, which is always amazing to me. Like, I don't know, it picks up some sound, but not all sound. So, okay. So for this one, I might go back later. I'll add a bow and I might add like maybe one ladybug. I felt like maybe three was overkill. I don't know, but again, cute card, not hard. On the inside of this one, I did one of these little leaves. So there's a couple of stickers in the pack that are really thin and dainty. So be careful. This one and this one are actually very, very thin. And so I put the larger one on the inside here. Most of these stickers are really robust and they have a really solid, I feel like the sticker packs that come in here are very solid, and they don't tear, which is nice. Except sometimes these little skinny ones are a little more easy to injure if you're heavy-handed like me. So what I find is best is I start at the bottom and I break it. I kind of like bend the paper so I can see the tip of it, and then I very gently pull up and that helps me to not injure my sticker, which is cute. So just something on the inside. Okay. So those are the two kind of simpler, easier designs. Then we're going to get into my favorite technique when I'm messing around with memories and more cards. And that is to take a card and split it in half. So this card uses two cards. One is the So Much Love and one is the black and white. So we're going to work to find these two. And I think that it's sort of like a deck of cards. You just have to get familiar with what's what. So there's my black and white, which is awesome. And then So Much Love is right there. Great. So one of my favorite things to do to fill up the space, I could leave it like this. So on a card base, I could put this down and put this down. And that's fine. It's fine to have kind of, a smaller look on the front, but I like to be able to fill a lot of space. And so you can kind of see the difference between the two. And you can do whatever you want. If you don't want to split them in half, you don't want to pull it out, you don't have to pull it out this much either. You could go somewhere moderately in between the two. These are great because mathematically they divide easily. So it's a 4-inch card. So you just cut at 2 inches. So I just cut it at 2 inches and then I glue them down. So you have two choices. You can glue them to the card base and then you can pop this on top with some dimensionals. You could also try to glue them onto here and then pop the whole thing with dimensionals. I think this is a little bit harder and it's a little bit harder to see kind of how they angle. So personally, I prefer, it's my bone folder. Black cardstock is a really nice cardstock and it needs a good bone fold. I'm convinced. All right, so I'm going to put some glue under one. And I might go in a little bit. I might have gone a little too far out on those, but now I can kind of see, am I even on the top and the bottom and the left and the right? And then same with this side, a little bit of glue. I do like using wet glue because it gives me a second to figure out if I'm in the right place. And then this one's so beautiful by itself. I'm just going to pop it up on some dimensionals. So what I like about these cards is that everybody's is going to look different because there's so much opportunity for creativity in here and people can really, you could just take off. And so a lot of times when I'm teaching these, we'll start all together and then people will end up in very, very different places. And that's okay. I did add some of the petal pink dots and the cute little ladybugs on this one. I don't know that this ladybug is necessary. I think he kind of gets lost. And I think this petal pink dot gets lost and you can't even see it. But I do like these two and I like him there. So let's talk about this. The petal pink ribbon is really pretty and it matches this suite very nicely. And then these are the petal pink and gold, and they're called low profile dots. These are meant to go with this suite and they are very nice and low profile, which I like. And they're an online exclusive. And I will be sad when they're gone because they're very, very pretty and I have enjoyed using them. So I will probably grab I know I'm committed to this ladybug here because I think he's adorable. And I'll probably get my low profile dots out and I'll just go ahead and add a couple here. All right. So there we go. Oh, and the inside of this one. Okay. So it does feel a little heavy with the flowers, but I did do this one on the inside. One of the reasons I like using these cards on the inside is sometimes I don't have a ton to write, and these cards kind of restrict your writing space. And I like that. So sometimes I'm just like, love you so much. Happy anniversary. Or, congratulations on your wedding. I don't have a ton to say, and I think that these are nice. I also like that a lot of them have lines or grid, so it makes writing on the inside of a card really easy. So I did put that one on the inside of this one. All right, next card. So this one's very similar in that I wanted to have the blue sky. I really, really, really like this card. I love this background. So I wanted to have the blue sky, and then I wanted to feature one card that had this really bold floral. So we're gonna find our blue sky, maybe. And sometimes if I can't find them, I just kind of flip them over and nope, that's the wrong direction. Okay, there's that one. So that's good. Here's my blue sky. I think I'm close. There we go. So what that means is you're giving up what's on the other side. On the other side of this, I don't feel bad at all. I did really like this one. I think this is a cute card, but I really, really like this blue sky. Now I do have the DSP now, so I could use the DSP and then I don't have to sacrifice this card. But it's very much the same process. I cut it in half, I split it out, and then I went ahead and put this on here. I did do the technique where I am taking the sticky off of these guys, and so I'm going to show you that so you can decide what you want to do there. I'm going to put this over here, and I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, so let's use the heartfelt thanks, which is on the other sticker sheet. Nope, it's on this one. Oh, it's just upside down. That's why I can't see it. All right, so you take the sticker off and you take your embossing buddy and you just kind of tap your embossing buddy on it until it loses its sticky. So the reason you do this is that even if you put dimensionals on here, if there's any kind of sticky, it's going to like stick down. And I can't get dimensionals like up on this corner and stuff. I can really only get dimensionals on these two smaller pieces. So for me, it's important to go ahead and try to take that sticky out of there. So I'm going to put a dimensional there, and I think that's too low. We don't want to see it from behind. And then let's see. That one's probably too big, but yeah, it's too big. So a set of mini dimensionals would probably be good for this project. The little ladybugs definitely need like a fourth of a dimensional or something. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pop this on here. It is a white background with the black font. And so I feel like if I had just stuck this flat on here, it would have gotten lost. But because it's popped up on dimensionals, I think we can see it a little bit better now. There's some height and there's some dimension. So, and then I'm going to do the same thing for my little ladybugs. So I want a flying ladybug. Now this is a lot harder to do. You could take your pick tool. That'd be a really good use for this, wouldn't it? And then he just sticks onto the embossing buddy. That's funny. And then I'll make him unsticky. And I'm not doing this on a lot of cards, right? I'm doing it on a few. So I think it's worth the effort. But I think that he really stands out when he can be popped up. The other embellishment that would be really cute with this is the new little ladybug trinkets. I didn't even think about that, but those would look really cute on these cards too. So, okay. So the next card, how are we doing? Everybody pacing okay? Um, I don't want to go too fast, but I also don't want to be here all day with you guys. All right, so this one's the one that has the or the circle punch. So I used the Friends Forever card, and then I used this other small card. So we've got to find these two small cards, which does get easier as your stack gets smaller. So is that the striped one? No, here, this is the striped one I use. And then the Friends Forever. Oh, yes, there we go. All right, so the Friends Forever, the back of it is like this one, which I also was a little sad to lose. I thought that was a cute one. And then this green stripe, the back of it is Today Was Great, which I'm not going to use anyway because it's for that. So I took my circle punch, my 2 3/8 circle punch, and came in and centered this up and punched it out. If you're scared that you're not going to center it right, you could kind of try looking at the back too, but I feel like this is good enough. It doesn't have to be, perfect. And then we're going to take the green one and we're going to split it in half, just like we have with these last couple of ones. We're going to glue it down. I'm going to glue these two pieces down. And again, I might have gone a little too far to the edges on this one. I don't know. Maybe not. I think it fills the card nicely. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to take this outer piece and we're going to glue it flat. This we're going to pop up on dimensionals. Now this looks a little wonky, but you're not going to see it because we're not popping it with like, sky high dimensionals. So we're going to glue this on flat. Just try to, center it up as best you can, left, right, top, bottom. And then we're going to pop this with dimensionals and we're going to go find these other circle stickers. So there's a couple of circle stickers. There's one that has the black kind of dashed lines and then one that has some green on it. So I figured if we were doing circles, we might as well do, all the circles. So these two I'm going to take. Now, I will admit that when I first made this card, I tucked these guys under afterwards, but I just got lucky because the dimensionals weren't in the wrong spot. So don't be like me. Pre-put them down. And then put your middle circle where you need it. Nice. And then I put some of the gold dots on here because I thought this one would be nice with gold. And I don't think that anybody looking at this would think that this was made with memories and more. Like, I think these cards have enough layers and enough pieces and interest that, I think some people think that memories and more is too simplistic, but you can do a lot of really fun things with them. So I hope that you guys are enjoying these designs. The inside of this one, oh yeah. So the inside of this one, I used one of the little skinny stickers. There's 3 of these little stickers on your sticker sheet. And so I went ahead and used one of those on here. And I used the light one. And I just kind of, lined it up on the right as best I could. And then glued it on the inside. All right. Doing good? Everybody good? Yay. All right. Moving on. Okay, so the next set of cards, I think I've got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3. These are the more layered ones. But I mean, it's not that, this one's really not that hard. Um, so all this one is, I wanted an offset. Sometimes I like to do not fully centered, not fully perfect. And so this one I felt like just offset so nicely. And then this sticker, just a note to let you know I'm thinking of you, I thought went really well with this. And it's tiny. It's a tiny font actually, but it pairs well with the really large flowers. So we're going to find this big guy. He's in here somewhere. Let's see. Oh, yes, this one. And we're going to go ahead and trim You can trim, you could do the 3/8 and 3/8, or you could just go down. I like to do the 3/8 and 3/8 because I think I'm going to use these strips later. And so, I mean, now that I know how to do it, right, I know how the math works, then it works out just fine. So we've got that as our background piece. And then we're going to find our large tulip, which is in here somewhere. There it is. I did pop this pink one up with dimensionals. So we're going to glue this background piece down flat. And then, oh, the dog wants to go outside, the big boy. Let's see if Jonathan hears that. If not, I might have to pop up and let him out. Maybe he'll quit. Sometimes he does. All right. And then this is just going to go in the far bottom left-hand corner, right to meet up with your DSP. And then we're going to add this little sticker. I did not pop this up with dimensionals because I already had this other piece popped up. But on this one, I'm going to give it a try. We're going to see if we like it better up on dimensionals. Oh, that's way too many dimensions. I thought that was just a piece. All right, let's see. So I'll do that there and there. I think I like it popped up. Yeah. I like it popped up. I think it just gives a little bit of definition and I think it looks a little bit fancier. So I'm going to leave it popped up. All right. So let's see. Next card. The next card has a few pieces to it. And I'll tell you things I like and things I don't like. So it's the large greenery piece that has this is our story piece in the middle, which isn't useful for me. So I'm always looking for ways to, cover those. So a lot of times another card right on top, right, is going to be our key. And then I used one of these strips on the bottom because I thought that would add some nice dimension. All of that's popped up on dimensionals. The happy birthdays on dimensionals. And then I put a piece of ribbon at the bottom, but I used wet glue and it's very, very obvious that I used wet glue and I don't like it. So I would recommend that if you have some Tombow or seal or even tear and tape or honestly anything else, if you're going to add a piece of ribbon to the bottom, that you do that instead. So I'm going to I'll probably use my tear and tape and I'll put a piece of tear and tape at the bottom so I can do the ribbon on that. Because if not, I think the wet glue it looked really bad. I was surprised. I've used wet glue with ribbon before and I haven't had that, but all right. So I'm going to take my piece of tear and tape off and then I'm going to put my piece of ribbon on top. And I'm actually going to go a little bit longer than the piece because then I can trim it to the correct length. So we got one side and the other side. All right, so that's a nice finish on the bottom of that. That looks pretty. That makes me happy. The first one did not. All right, so this card needs to be trimmed down just like all of our others. This one you are going to want to be centered, so you really do have to cut 3/8 an inch off one side. Again, save that piece, and then 3/8 an inch off the other side. and save that piece. You want it centered because we need this to be centered on the card. So, and then we'll grab one of our card bases. And I like this card. I think this is a nice card if you wanted to use it on the inside for, a note or something. But I thought it was fine on an outside piece too. Now, if it irritates you that the greenery is not going in the correct direction, well, I can't help you. No, you can put this piece here. So you could go like this and do this. I think it looks a little weird, but it depends on if grass growing sideways bothers you or not. So it doesn't bother me. All right, and then I'm gonna put some dimensionals on this piece. And then I'm gonna put some dimensionals on that last little label. And on this. So I'm gonna add this kind of at the bottom. It helps to kind of weigh the whole thing down a little, kind of anchors it towards the bottom, which I think is smart when you have like an arch like that. Okay. I might flip this up over the edge here if I can. See what happens. I got those two really close, but okay, there we go. So, and then we need the happy birthday sticker. Let's see. Again, taking that sticky out. Awesome. I feel like there's a lot going on this one, and I don't think you need anything else. If you do have those little butterfly or bees, the little gold bees, I think a gold bee on this one would be really cute. So, but maybe you can tell the difference. Can you see that dark line on this one? Yeah, that's where the blue went. So, but um, all right, good. So moving on. This one's kind of a fun offset one. And I wanted to use this card and I wanted to use the hello, and I thought this could be a really fun design. So all I did with this one was I glued this one flat on the front. So I just did that. I know I'm sacrificing one of the really nice, pretty pieces, but I liked the hello there. Thought that was really nice. And then I'm using just a small piece of this ribbon and I'm gonna kind of put it underneath this sticker. So I'll use the same technique. I'll do some tear and tape. And I'm hoping to get like a nice point on my ribbon. It was a little bit harder than I imagined, but I got it. There we go. So we've got our ribbon down. And then we are going to take this nice, pretty label and again, take that sticky out. Perfect. And there we go. We've got our card. So even though these have a couple more layers, I don't think these are incredibly difficult. And I think that, I mean, the fact that we're making like 10 cards in an hour, is really nice. Um, and, if you like the designs, you can definitely make more of them. You could also, mix and match that DSP in. So, all right. So the last two cards are probably the more complicated cards. And then I'm going to show you the failures. I'll show you the failures first. Maybe not. Maybe I'll show you these other two. Okay. So this is one of them. So you'll recognize these big bold stripes, hopefully. So there's really only one big card left, and it's this one. So we're going to use this one. And then you trimmed these guys down earlier. You have a hot pink, and you have a black and white, and you have a green. So we're going to use these guys, and we're using it to cover this because, and I tried it without it and I didn't like it. I like this card a lot. I thought it looked really cute on here, but I didn't like that you could see a little bit of this top and this bottom. And I didn't mind it too much, other than I think you can see some script down there. But if you like it like that, that's fine. We are going to trim this big one. And again, we're going to want to center it. So we're going to go 3/8 inch off one side. Guess what? That goes in our pile. And 3/8 inch off the other side. And that goes in our pile. And then I'm going to get our card base. Oh, I don't think I've showed the inside of some of these cards. Darn. Well, let me go back and do that. Let's see. What did I put on the inside of this one? So on the inside of the hello there, I just used that soft little blue. And on the inside of the happy birthday, oh, I used the big flowers. I was really holding out on these. So, but I thought they were really pretty. And of course, they match the outside of the card. So, and then let's see if I put an inside on this one. What did I do on the inside of this one? Yeah, I just did a flower. So I don't feel like that one even matches well. So, okay, not too bad. All right, so we've caught up on the insides and the outsides. All right, so we've got this card. We've got a card base. We're going to go ahead and glue this down. Again, this would make a nice inside piece, right? Because you could write on that. So if you have more of these cards sitting at home or you order more, lots of uses for the pieces inside and out, scrapbooking, memory keeping. I use them for note cards, like little like lunchbox notes, So all right, so then I'm gonna put this strip down the middle. So I'm just gonna put some glue on here and I'm gonna put it in the middle, hopefully. And that's why I like wet glue. I have a chance to change my mind. And then we'll do the pink one. We'll do the green one. And then that effectively just, covers up that middle bar basically. So now we're just gonna pop this up with some dimensionals. And let's see. And then the only other thing I added was the little "You're amazing" sentiment again with the piece. So you're amazing. Nice. And a couple of those gold dots and you're good to go. So, and then on the inside of this one, I did another one of those little skinny stickers on that sticker sheet that I have no idea where it is on my work surface. So let's see where are we at. Oh yeah, here it is. So one of these little skinny stickers. All right. Last card. Ta-da, the scraps. So I knew I wanted to use all of these little scraps. Sometimes when you have a lot of like busy little patterns, they look really, really cute together. And I knew I wanted to use the Celebrate and the Good Times, and I like this green. The colors in here, I was going to tell you because there's quite a few colors. So Basic Black, the Boho Blue, which you can see there, Calypso Coral, Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, Granny Apple Green, which you can see kind of in some of this greenery, Mossy Meadow, which is kind of the darker one, Petal Pink, Poppy Parade, which I was surprised about, and then Shy Shamrock, which I do like as a color. All right, so for this one, we're going to take our pieces and we're going to line them up and decide what we like and kind of how we want this all to lay out. I'm going to do that. All right, so blue. And some of them you need to kind of look at the other side and see, do you like the other side better? Or, what side is the one you want? Definitely like that stripe. And then you're just going to glue them down as best you can. And if you have extras, you could add an extra one in. So for instance, I might end up putting an extra one in here because my strips seem a little bit, a couple of them are skinny. So I might do that. All right. So once I glue these, and I'm going to use wet glue for them, then I'm going to get my Good Times. And this piece, I think I only trimmed the bottom off. So I got it to 3¼ by 3. It's not quite a square, but it's really close. I was going for a square, but so 3¼ and that helps us to not cut off. Oh, I must have cut off a little bit off the top. So let's cut off like 1/4 inch off the top. There we go. So 1/4 inch off the top, and then we'll get it to 3¼ on the bottom, and that'll help us not cut off any, font on the bottom. If you wanted to try to get it down to 3, you could, but I think it's going to be really maybe 3 1/8. Yeah. All right. So there's that guy. And then the Celebrate is again popped up. But all we're going to do with these guys is glue them. Now, if you don't think that you can get it straight, you can just go cattywampus, and that is perfectly fine because then they'll all be crooked, and you can kind of lean them left and right. You could overlap them. That's up to you, how you want to do that. I'm going to try for straight again, and we're going to see if I start on the left. Yeah, if I start on the right and then I go to the left and then I kind of work my way in, for the most part, I tend to be able to do it. And then I'm going to show you guys some of my failed ones. I mean, they'll still be sent. They're still cards, but I didn't think they were good enough for you guys. All right, so this is one of them. So this is the hooray. Um, it's okay, you know. Is it great? No. So I definitely will not be using that one. And then I had a great vision um, for the ladybugs, and it's okay again, So I took the ladybugs that were all in a row and I trimmed them so that I could get, little rows of ladybugs. And then tried to scatter them, but they ended up not being maybe as scattered as I wanted. I don't know. It's an okay design. But then it felt plain, so then I put that sticker on it, and then I'm like, okay, well, what's going on that sticker? I don't know. So do with that as you wish and as you may. But that was not my favorite one for sure. And this good times card could go horizontal or vertical. So whichever way, you like it. All right. Any questions as we're wrapping up with this one? If not, I'll stop the recording. We'll have a nice clean recording for everybody. And then we'll take it from there. So I'm going to stop the recording. And